PM 456. B is the Roman number for 5, so it helps you remember 4 is one below, one above, one below. So add 1, subtract 1. Does that make sense? Alright, so you get a score of 1, 2, 3, 4. You get a score of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And the motor is 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Alright? What is eyes?
Alerts.
It's real easy. It's add food backwards. That's all it is. So if your eyes are, if they're alert, like they're not saying there's any issues, like they're tracking you and stuff like that, they're alert, it's a 4. Now if you have to get their attention, like hey, and they look at you, that's a 3. If they have to, if it's painful signal, it's a 2, and if they don't open them, it's a 1. Alright? Now, the only reason I go through all 4 scores on this one, because that's a familiar acronym that you're used to. Add food backwards.
Yeah.
On these, I don't give you the 1s or the 5 or the 6. Because if they're a 6 or a 5, if they're at the end, there's no deficit. If they're a 1, then there's none. Right? So this side's no verbal, and if it's 5, they're talking to you normally. A&O times 4. How are you going to remember 2, 3, and 4? What is a 2? Incomprehensible sound. Three is inappropriate word. 4 is confusion. Here's how you're going to use this to help remember it. Fuck, where am I? Now, it doesn't mean it has to be a curse word. An inappropriate word can be like, hey, what's your name, sir? And you go, ice cream. That's an appropriate answer, right? That would be a what? 3. A 3. If they moan to painful stimuli, moaning is an incomprehensible sound. So if they moan to painful stimuli, they're a 2 and a 2. Alright? And then confusion. They can't answer what are your normal questions?
No questions.
What's your name? Where you at? What city are we in? Who's the president? Believe it or not, they can be really altered. They always get the president one.
Yeah.
I've had dementia patients.
And it's always just like,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's never, I was like, is people that are sick just not like whoever the president is?
We have dementia patients that can ask all 4 of the questions.
Now, if you got a patient that has dementia and they're in a what do you call it, memory care facility, you got to think about it. They might not get outside. So, hey, caregiver, that's probably somebody they know, right? Hey, what's their name? You know what I mean? Like, ask them questions that relate to them. So you have to read that room and read that judgment of like, hey, I got to ask them the right kind of questions.
Well, we get some that they know all the right answers because they've been asked it so many times. And so you have to like kind of trick them up on.
Now they should be able to get the president, but they might not know what month, what day of the week. You know what I mean? Day of the week may be a little easier because they probably have a schedule. But so just keep asking questions if you think they're altered. Keep asking questions something that they can answer, but they should be able to answer.
We usually mix it up. If we know like they're able to answer all the ANO questions, we'll mix it up and be like, well, what's this?
And short-term memory and long-term memory, 2 different areas of the brain. But they usually have pictures of family members up there. And usually the staff have heard those names a lot, or they see those people. And I go, who is that? There you go. Well, that's my daughter, Denise. And I look at her and I go, is that right? There you go, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
what we usually do.
All right, motor. Again, 1 is none, 6 is no deficit. All right? So, what's a 2? The cerebral, the cerebral posturing. And then 3 is what? The corticate. What's 4?
Extension from pain.
Withdrawal from pain. And then 5 would be
Localizing pain.
This is how you're gonna, your acronym. DDWL. Don't do white lines. So, if you're looking just for a basis to get you there, EVM 456, add poop backwards, ugh fuck where am I, don't do white lines. At least you have a basis to start with. Alright, now if you can't remember which goes first, decorticate or decerebrate, hey, everything like cheerleaders. Anybody here a cheerleader? Nobody? You're doing moves.
No, but I'm not a cheerleader.
Oh.
I did drill team.
Alright, well drill team, you do everything to a count, right?
Mhm.
So, in cheerleaders, they know their basic movements is this and this. You know, like they start out like this, go like that, maybe go like that, but they have that kind of back and forth, alright, when they're clapping. It's a very structured deal. My daughter's a cheerleader, alright? So, what they do is, if you think about it, they always start with their count, their hands down by their side, that's the cerebral. And they come up to a clap, that's your 3. And then you withdraw from pain. You withdraw, you're pushing it back and you're going with your hands down, and then you localize your chest pain. That's the only way I've come up to help remember that.
I just always think of the order because 2 is going to be worse. You're going to be in a worse position than 3, and decerebrate, if you're not able to protect like your major organs, I think of that being at the bottom.
I like
and
that.
then this to protect you, so you're somewhat kind of
Yeah.
protecting your.
But if you think about it, you can go here, 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 and then you localize your chest pain. But I like your theory, and I'll probably use it in the future, but I've not come up with a solid one for that other than DDWL. But that will at least get you started on filling that out. It could be one question, it's an easy question, point. I would say usually they're going to paint somebody in the 7 to 9 area, you know, like a questionable, because they've always said less than 8 innovate. You know, a diabetic hypoglycemic can be a 3, or minimally innovative. But usually they paint somebody in that questionable category, like 7 to 9. So the default answer would be, for me, would be 7. But I can figure it out doing that. But again, it's a video you can watch at onprep.com, free preview. And if it's something you want to watch run it, it's exactly the way I just did it. Alright. APGAR. APGAR is not a 3 to 15. What is APGAR?
10.
0 to 10. So, you got 0, 1, and your 2s. And what are your 5? What does APGAR stand for?
Appearance.
Alert.
Appearance,
Oh.
Pulse.
pulse,
Grimace.
activity, respiration. Alright. So 0 means none, right? Alright, which blue works? Alright, so appearance. They're either blue, they're pink, or blue and pink. So which one's blue?
Zero.
Pulse. What's a 0? Where do we start CPR at?
Less than 60.
And we do CPR. Grimace. Here's my deal. I've taken so many of these questions. I look for 5 descriptions every time. On that test, I've only gotten 4. Here's your way. If you get grimace or activity, I will tell you, usually it'll be the same description, but you have to times it times 2. Here's the usual description we get for a 0. Limp. And then respirations, none. Those are your 0s. You just have to remember, if you get 4, there are going to be similar descriptions if you get 5. But if you get 4, you got to times it times 2. Alright? Now your 2s. They're going to be pink. Heart rate's going to be greater than 100. Your grimace and activity deal will be flailing, which means moving arms and legs. And your respirations will be a strong cry. Alright? Your 1. Now, this is the way I like to do it. This is a blue, limp, non-breathing, dead baby. This is a full, functioning, healthy baby. Right? If I put those up there, I remember the 0s and 2s. I can fill out the 1 just by off that description, somewhere in between, right? Some people like to remember the 1s and fill out the 0s and 2s. I remember those and fill out the 1s. If you like this better, learn the 1s, you can figure out the 2s. Because again, blue and pink. So what's in between? And pink core, right?
Yeah.
Or just blue and pink. 0 to 60, greater than 100. What's in between there?
60 to 100.
You just need to remember to do what?
Ventilation.
There you go. Limp and flailing. Your in-between description is some flexion. None and strong cry. Your in-between is a weak cry. I do these and I fill out this. In the beginning when I didn't know it that well, some students like to remember this and they can fill out those. Whatever your mode is, it's 1 question. Just remember, we do it at 1 in 5 minutes. We trend to see the baby. Our goal is to see the baby improve. It may be a 6. The next one we want to see a 9 or a 10. All right. We're going to do burns down here, but I'm going to go ahead and give you the burn, the rule of 9s. That's another little formula you may or may not get. All right. So if you're looking at an adult on the rule of 9, so the Palmer method, do I need to explain that? Patient's palm equals how much? 1%. So if they say Palmer method, patient's palm equals 1%. Rule of 9s, you got 2 categories. You got adult and you got PD. Both have to equal how much? 100%, right? So always check your math. So you have the head for the adult. You have the torso. You got the arms. You got the legs. So what's the head worth?
18.
9%. What are the arms worth?
9.
No.
What is the front torso worth?
18.
And what is the back torso worth?
18.
That's your anterior, posterior. And then, what's your crotch worth? 1%. What are your legs worth? 18%.
So is that,
So if you add it up, 18 plus 18 is 36, right? So I got two 18s there. 36 plus 36 is what?
72?
And then 73. 9 times 3 is 27. 73 plus 27 is 100. Always just make sure your numbers add up. Here's my easy way to remember this. To me, this always looked like a house. Your door is the crotch, it's 1%. Each corner gets an 18%. So our 18s is in the 18s is down here. Everything up here is 9s. So to me, it just always kind of look like a house. Now, your other big deal on calculating one, when you get a calculation for a burn percentage, please slow down. Pay attention for the description, and every time they give you a description, calculate it. So, here's your big deal. On my arm, this is 9%. Give me two ways that this is divided into two. Anterior, posterior. So if they say anterior right arm, it's not 9%, it's what?
4.5.
All right, where's the other halfway point? The elbow, the joint. So if I say circumferential from the elbow down, that's 4.5. You know what I mean? So every time they give you a description, stop, calculate it right down. So the joint, that's your halfway point, anterior, posterior. Trunk. Anterior trunk means abdomen and chest. So that's your full 18. If it says chest, then that's 9. Abdomen is 9. Posterior trunk is 18. Usually they'll describe the posterior trunk as right and left, because you can divide it by the spine. So right and left is kind of the midpoint. Usually if they give you the posterior trunk, it'll be the whole deal. Okay? Crotches 1. Legs, anterior, posterior, just like the arm, and then your hinge, your knee, your joint, that's your halfway point. But if they say circumferential from the knee down, that's 9%. If they say anterior right leg, that's 9%. So just pay attention to the description. Because most likely if you miscalculate, that number will still be one of the answers. So just take your time, calculate it twice, and if you get the same answer each time, and it's there, just stick it. Now, a kid still has to get up to 100%. How we're going to remember this? Our kid is a 2-year-old. The reason why I say he's a 2-year-old is because the head is twice as big. The head and legs are the only thing that change in this. So you're still 18, 18, 9, 9, and you're still 1. Now, how much did we add to the head?
9.
We doubled it, right? We added 9. So we still got to get to our 100%.
Yeah.
Head and legs. So whatever I add to the head, I have to take away from the legs evenly. So I have to take away 4.5 away from each leg. So each leg over here was 18. What's 18 minus 4.5?
13.5.
There you go. Head and legs is the only differential. It's a 2-year-old, so the head's two times bigger than whatever you add to the head, take away from the legs, evenly. And again, pay attention to your calculations. The other thing that goes with burns is, for paramedics, you're going to get asked this. The Parkland formula. What does the Parkland formula have to do with it?
how much fluid you do?
It's the fluid resuscitation calculation for within the first 24 hours. So, you do VSA percentage times weight in kilograms times 4 milliliters. And that equals the total amount of fluid in the first 24 hours.
What is that, BSA, or, yeah?
BSA is body surface area. How much burned?
Oh, percent.
Burn surface area, sorry, burn surface area.
Didn't you have?
Now,
Oh.
you give half in the first 8 hours. So pay attention to what they're asking for. If they're asking for, either way you're gonna have to do this calculation. If they say how much fluid is gonna be given in the first 24 hours, it's here. If they say the first 8 hours, it's half this. Now, to give you an example, we give you one to calculate. You got 30% burn, a patient with 30% burns. It is a 250-pound patient, so use your calculator. So you don't do 30% of it, you just do 30. So whatever percentage he gives you, just take that as a whole number. So what's 250 divided by 2.2?
113.
113.6 times 30 is what? You're looking for a big number.
3,409.
Times that times 4.
13,636.
What is it?
13,636.
That sounds like a lot. And you might be like, that's a big number. That's, if you think about it, this is in milliliters. Think of 1,000 bags of fluid. This is 13 and a little more than half big bags of fluid. There's a lot of fluid resuscitation that goes on in the first 24 hours. Alright? So, if that, what's that divided by 2?
6,818.
First 8 hours, they're getting almost 7 bags of fluid. 7 big bags of fluid.
So we're working off of 30% of the body's fluid?
Yeah, that's our example. 30% burns.
So is it just gonna ask us the 24 for the
It
first
will
8
be
hours?
specific. It'll say first 24 hours or first 8 hours.
It's not gonna ask us like 1 hour, right?
No. You should feel safe in that like if you get a burn patient, severe burn patient, just open up 2 bags and get it going. You know what I mean? You're not going to overload it. Everybody good with the Parkland burn formula?
Nope.
Rule of nines? Alright. We'll start at the beginning. Usually they open up with like an easy trauma question. Like it might be a predictive injury pattern. It says, hey, you run on a motorcycle wreck and he went over, he hit a parked vehicle head on. And it said, where would you expect the injuries to be?
Chest and head.
Femur fractures. Why? Hits the handlebars. So that's an easy one. I've had that one start off my test twice. Alright? So that might be a predictive deal. Again, Waddell's triad. What did I tell you that one's for? It's a pediatric getting hit by a car, and it's a predictive injury pattern. Triad. Remember, trunk, head. Everything above the knee. But it's going to be femur fractures, Could be chest wall or abdominal injuries and head injury. Alright, you alright?
I almost dropped my pen.
Oh, you reacted there. Alright, here's another, you did Waddles. Kinetic energy. Do you know the formula for kinetic energy? It's an old school one, but they asked it.
Mass times velocity?
Mass times velocity, I think it's mass times velocity squared. So they'll give you a scenario, or they'll say which one produces the most kinetic energy. And it'll have an 18-wheeler at 40 miles an hour, and blah, blah, blah. I don't care how big the vehicle is, I care about how fast it's going. Because you square the velocity number. So if you got a Mazda Miata going 90 miles an hour, I don't care how much it weighs, it's going to produce the most kinetic energy over an 18-wheeler Rex at 40 miles an hour. Because you do 40 squared and you do 90 squared, those are really different numbers.
Yeah.
It's whatever thing is going the fastest. If you want to easy remember it, just say, hey, whatever's going the fastest produces the most kinetic energy because you squared that number. Does that make sense? Alright, trauma triad of death. Do you know the trauma triad of death?
Which one?
Nothing? Top of your head? Trauma patients.
Cause
Hey, what's the temperature like in a trauma room at a hospital?
Warm
So what do you think one of the trauma triads of death is?
temperature.
Hypothermia. Because what happens in hypothermia?
Lose the ability to stay warm.
They lose the ability to stay warm, but they lose the ability to clot. They bleed easier. So that's why it's important to get them covered, get them out of the environment, especially if they're bleeding, get them somewhere warm.
Didn't they add hyperkalemia to it?
Do what?
Is it?
It's acidosis.
Acidosis.
So the second one is acidosis. As you become more acidotic, you're also more hyperkalemic. The other one, the third one, is coagulopathy, your ability to clot. What's the one drug that we give to help with that?
TXA.
So, think of your trauma treatment. Now, I can just give you an example of what's on our end. Of course, we give blood now, but we haven't given it yet. But we carry fluid warmers, and we carry 2 things of lactated ringers and 1 thing of normal saline in our fluid warmers. All right. If they ask you for trauma resuscitation, fluid resuscitation, and it's not blood, then your number 1 is lactated ringers. But we carry fluid warmers, little pouches that carry the bags and it's plugged in. Carry fluid warmers because we want to prevent heat loss, right? And hypothermia. So fluid warmers, hypothermia, keep the ambulance hot. Give TXA to assist with coagulopathy to help them clot. I mean, we give like 2 grams. Some places give 3 grams. I know part of our SWAT medic deal is they'll hit them with a shot of TXA in each shoulder and then give them another TXA whenever they'll start an IV. Part of our deal with our blood is we give them TXA and calcium. Calcium is more for the blood stuff because they get hypocalcemia when you give blood. But the other deal is the colder the trauma triad is, they get acidotic quick. So if they get acidotic, that's also hyperkalemia. So try to prevent acidosis, keep them warm, and give them TXA to help with the clotting, coagulopathy. All right. Occlusive torso is not a term, it just reminds me to drop this. Alright. So I've told you, anything with exposed bowel, evisceration, anything like that, or if they have a, what, female pregnancy, prolapse uterus. You cover it with what?
Moist sterile dressing.
Moist sterile dressing. So, anything in this abdominal care, in this area, is probably moist sterile. But you also do an occlusive dressing. I will tell you, if you have a full evisceration, you do the wound, like, if there's no like free bleeding, you do wound packing and stuff like that. A great one is the, have you ever seen the multi-trauma dressing, the big one? So about the size of a sheet of paper. So it is a,
Kind of like a pure weight, like not a pure weight, it soaks up.